2015 was an amazing year for cybersecurity in Nigeria. In May 2015, the Cybercrime Bill was signed into law. The effects of this to individuals and corporations is that cybercrime is now properly defined and lawful penalties are attached to any disobedience of this law. Head Cloud IP and Chief Security Officer Main 1, Chidinma Iwe, joins us on the show to discuss cybersecurity in Nigeria.
Chidinma, I'd like to welcome you to Tech Trends.
Thank you very much.
Tell me, cybersecurity in Nigeria, how bad or how good is it?
Good and bad. I'd say a lot of things are happening. I may not describe it as good or bad, but I'll describe it probably as a challenging environment. It's a fast evolving environment. It's one of those landscapes that never remain the same. So the challenge is for those charged with the responsibility of security for enterprises or for the organizations to always be up to skill, up to touch, up to speed with what's going on globally, because in no time whatever happens in other parts of the world usually happens here.
But are we prepared for eventualities?
Are we prepared today? Maybe not as prepared as we need to be. But the challenges are there, and I think a lot of people are paying close attention today. A lot of industry watchers, a lot of comments, a lot of events that you've noticed all over Nigeria. There's a lot of buzz around information security. So, I mean, we're doing a lot in terms of awareness, and a lot of people are doing great stuff around awareness, including yourself.
Yes, but do we have the resources in case anything happens? I mean, recently Liberia went down.
Yeah.
So, are we ready for such eventualities?
When we look at some of the attacks we've had in the last few years, we would say yes. However, like you notice what happened in the US, you had unprecedented attacks that had never happened before. In the past, we're having DDoS attacks, for example, of 500 gigs. A few months ago, it went to 1 terabyte of attacks. And the last set of attacks that brought down large corporations, in the US exceeded 1 terabyte. So, I mean, this is fast evolving. So yes, I might say today in today's meeting that, oh, Nigeria is great. And then a week from today, you hear of something greater.
As a professional in this game, what would you like to see that would assure you and every other professional out there that we are really, really prepared?
In terms of preparedness, it would be expecting too much to ask us to be as prepared as the West and some other more advanced economies. And the reason is because the kinds of infrastructure they have in place, the size of their pipes and the size of infrastructure, the kinds of infrastructure differs from the kinds of infrastructure we have here in Africa, in Nigeria to be more specific. So with respect to the sizes of the pipes, internet pipes, and the sizes of the kinds of infrastructure we have, I'd say we're in a fair place. But there's a lot more we can do.
Well, we're growing, by the way.
Yes, we're growing. We're fast growing.
Okay, let's look at some of the statistics. Each time I hear the statistic that Nigeria is a cyber fraud country, cybercrime country, I tend to disagree. I want to know what you think about it. What sort of cybercrime is popular around here?
Well, I have a view, and my view may not be the popular view as well. The world of cybercrime is a world. It's a world controlled by a cartel or by several cartels. You can liken these cartels to the cartels of the drug industry as well. Okay, so and there's the demand side and there's also the supply side in all of these kinds of cartels, right? So sometimes people go and blame the supply side as the guys who are leading. But sometimes it's demand. The demand is created. There's a demand side. There's a side that actually creates the demand for these crimes. It doesn't necessarily mean that, oh yes, just because you picked some guy in Ikeja and he was the guy who originated the email, he's just a part of a big chain of people. And a lot of times he knows very little and cannot execute sophisticated attacks. Sometimes he's accused of being behind very sophisticated attacks that he has no capacity to execute.
Chidinma, let's look at some of your recommendations for organizations. What do you think companies should be doing to be better secure today?
For organizations, I think that a number of things organizations can do. And there's several ways. People talk about process, people, and technology. But organizations want to first of all start out by trying to identify what are their critical assets. What assets is most important to me? What do I need to protect? What asset exposes me to huge reputational losses? Those are some of the first things you want to ask. Once you can identify those assets, then you can start to weave your processes, your policies, your standards, and a lot of the things you're doing around ensuring that you're securing the assets. So sometimes, if we can't approach information security just for the sake of information security, or else we'll be making investments in protecting assets that assets whose values sometimes could be way less than the investment in information security. So it's relative for various organizations. Large organizations, of course, have a lot of intellectual property, and they're investing a lot in firewalls, in technology, in people, and all of that. So organizations need to be able to do some kind of retrospective look at where they are, what are their key assets, how do they protect those assets, the best way they can protect those assets using technology, people, and processes.
Chidinma, for individuals, why is it that phishing emails is one of the easiest way for people to fall victims to cybercrime?
Well, I think it speaks to a basic human need. Generally, people like good stuff, and good things sometimes that come for free is even more amazing, Why do I have to work so hard when all of a sudden there's a guy who has some dollars that can just help move from point A to point B, and I get a 50% cut out of it? That's sometimes human. And interestingly, it's not just Nigerians that fall prey to it. All over the world, even in advanced economies, people are falling prey to phishing emails.
So what would be your advice?
Well, in terms of phishing, I think in terms of protecting oneself is one, putting something at the back of your mind. Not even in Freetown do you have free stuff, so free things don't exist just anywhere. So, and somebody rightly said, if it's free, you may be the product. So you need to really pay some attention when you see free stuff.
Okay, but another interesting one is, if a company has a network and a staff carelessly drops a malware mistakenly through an email or something, how would that company ensure that malware doesn't creep into the entire network?
Well, it depends on a number of things. Stopping malware most times, using just technology to prevent malware is really after the fact. A lot of times it's much better to have a preventive approach by ensuring that there's enhanced information awareness. Because a lot of times about malware, there are triggers to malwares. Malwares don't just come into an environment. They usually have links, things that people touch. And once they touch them, it triggers a chain of events and activities within the environment. So my approach would be more ensuring that we increase the awareness, information awareness within the organization, to help people pay attention to links. I got an email a few days ago, and interestingly, the email made reference to interesting things I was actually interested in, and they say click on this link to take you there. Yes, I was interested in it, but I'm very weary about links. Once I saw a link, I said no way. If you tell me go here, go to that website, you find more information, I may be more open to that. But once you give me a link,
so you don't click on links?
I don't do links. Yeah.
All right, finally, just before I let you go, how do you think corporate organizations can better support tech initiatives around this ecosystem?
Well, I strongly believe that unless we're growing the tech ecosystem, the tech organizations will not benefit from the growth of the entire ecosystem. And the ecosystem, comprises of not just the tech organization, the tech companies, building tech stuff, doing tech stuff. It also involves the people talking about technology, the people hosting events, the media as well. So I think that entire ecosystem needs to be extremely supportive of each other to ensure that we're growing the market and growing the ecosystem that benefits all of us and benefits us as Nigerians as well. There's a lot we can do. I think we can do more. I think we can do more. And I think that we will continue to see more, because as we enjoy the benefits of the mutual relationships, within the industry, I think people will see the need to always do more.
Thank you for being on TechLens today.
Thanks a lot, CFA. My pleasure, anytime.
That's our show for today, but the conversation continues online, so do join us there. This edition, as well as previous editions of the show, can be seen on the channel's TV YouTube account or via my blog, techsmart.ng. For Tech Trends, I am Chukwemeka Agbata.